Welcome to Black Renaissance, everyone. I'm your host, Kristen Ayers. Remember, you can always pitch us show ideas and see archives of these and other segments on facebook.com/Black Renaissance KBCW-TV. Today's show brings us a new approach to healing with The Source Chiropractic. I'll also spend some time with jazz recording artist Nicholas Beard, author John Hope Bryant, and the Reverend MacArthur Flournoy of the Human Rights Campaign. Up first, we have chiropractor Brett Jones. Welcome, Brett.
Thank you.
We're really happy to have you. We're talking about The Source Chiropractic. And the first thing I think of when we're talking about chiropractic, I think a lot of people think of is the bone crunching and, you know, back stretching. And
absolutely,
you sort of have a different approach to chiropractic that includes that, but involves other things as well.
Right. And I was telling you before, I think when we generally think about chiropractic, we think of this archaic approach, meaning, and even the founder of chiropractic, D.D. Palmer, said, I used to rack vertebra back in place. And a lot of people think that they need to go after a motor vehicle accident, but they don't understand the subtlety of what can happen in an adjustment, because it's a delicate nerve, and so just a tiny misalignment can make a big change in somebody's life. And so you can understand that a realignment could also make a big difference in somebody's life.
You talked about just a little bit before we were getting started here, just how much your vertebrae are connected to your nerves and how that can impact a whole host of things in your body. So talk to me about that.
Absolutely, and this way we bring us a little model. It's a little 3 vertebra model, and when you say nerves, and when you talk about anything in the body and anatomy, we don't really actually consider the relationship to other things. And so as a chiropractor, yes, we work with the spine, but why do we work with the spine? Because of the relationship to the nerve. And so here you have vertebra. In between you have disc to provide cushion. And then in between that you have these little spaghetti looking things, we call them nerves, right? And nerves are responsible for all sensation you have in the body, but also function. It's a two-way system, meaning from the body to the brain, all sensation, and then from the brain to the body. And so it's super important that that nerve gets to communicate correctly when there's no misalignment causing irritation.
And that's what your business is all about.
Absolutely.
So talk to me about what kinds of, how you treat patients. And you said there's sort of a difference between when you talk about, medical treatment and chiropractic treatment. So go over that.
Absolutely. One is the word treatment. And so in the beginning of chiropractic, what happened was the medical profession tried to basically clean us out. And so for a long time, chiropractors were charged with practicing medicine without a license. Chiropractors were actually jailed. And so what happens is we change our terminology. We don't treat, but we adjust. And why do we adjust? We adjust for the betterment of the human spine, so the conduction of the nerves is better, and so somebody can function better overall.
And what kinds of ailments do you see people coming in with?
So some of the most common ones we see at the Source Chiropractic, because we are actually a family chiropractic center, so we've seen a lot of pregnant moms, both pre and postnatal. Why is that? Because as the body's growing, developing, guess what? So is the sacrum, so is the pelvis, round ligaments. A lot of women complain of this, where I got round ligament pain. Well, guess what? That's something that can be corrected in a chiropractic office, so that when you're growing that baby, that beautiful baby, I just had one 3 weeks ago, when you're growing this baby, thank you, that it has room to grow. Right? And not only room to grow, but room to exit. So the studies say that women under chiropractic care have about half the labor time than women that aren't. I'm like,
right?
That sounds pretty awesome if you ask me about it. So we see a lot of moms, we also see a lot of kids. Like, why would you adjust a kid? Guess what? One of the most traumatic things that can happen in your life is the birthing process. So you come out, your neck is in distortion. Guess what? Maybe we check the upper cervical vertebra, and guess what? It's not a crack, it's not a pop. It's a little bit, it's just as much pressure as you'd put on an eyeball. It's as much pressure you need to go ahead and tap the atlas, which is the top bone of the neck, back in.
Now, there are going to be some people who are a little bit reluctant, and we were talking about it earlier, African Americans in general, we have low rates sometimes of seeking out help. What would you say to people who are a little reluctant about doing something like this?
I would say, well, let's throw a statistic, right? We know that almost 47% of African Americans have high blood pressure. And now, of those, 60 to 80% of them are taking high blood pressure medications, which means their blood pressure is being managed. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't like being managed, right? I'd like to heal, right? And so that's a big difference. And what if I told you there was a study by Dick Holtz, who does NUCA, an upper cervical technique, which we do here at the Source Chiropractic, that could reduce your blood pressure by the same as top 2 medications combined, which is a natural approach, so it's just like, it's a natural approach and we get results. And I think one of the biggest things that keeps people from going in somewhere is a lack of, or maybe it's a curiosity of whether or not this person can get me results.
Absolutely.
Right? You know, and we're used to the quick fix, not the long-term result. And sometimes you gotta commit to a long-term result and actually heal from something instead of being managed by something.
All right. Well, I really hope people check you out. I might think about it myself. I've never done it, but hey, you never know. The Source Chiropractic, you can find out more information about it on their website, thesourcechiropractic.com. That's thesourcechiropractic.com. We'll be back in a minute with more Black Renaissance.